Go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the FB4 Daily. I'm in studio tonight. We're doing a pod tonight. We're doing the club, and the two lads decided to stay on. And if I don't finish this by 10:30, Seany is going to absolutely malavogue me across this fucking counter. But look, we're on. We're good to go. And 20-25 minutes, your comments will be up there, and we'll see how they're going. And anything you come up with, we will talk about. Seany has his phone in front of him. I have my phone in front of me. So anything that comes up there, we will chat about. The first thing I want to talk about, lads, and you did so in the club, so I wanted to bring it on a little bit more. It was around this narrative around Liverpool and in particular Jamie Carragher. I watched the game Friday night, and when I watched it, well, I was at the game. I'm watching it, and I thought we were 70%, Seany, max. We are at 70%. And probably 50% in the second half. But I came out of the ground, I couldn't believe when I was watching in a pub afterwards, they kind of had it on, and somebody was saying, Carragher's giving us loads there about the defence. And then it goes to Sunday, and United give up so many chances. They win 4-0, but they give up so many chances, and it's all hailing Harry Maguire. Do you think that... Is Carragher trying to be too nice here? Is he trying to be too impartial, and he's making a complete bollocks of it?
Yeah, it looks like it seemed that way anyway. You know what I mean? It seemed like it was pure narrative-driven bollocks from Carragher. Like, it was doing my bleeding tits in. I nearly put the game on mute. I nearly had to mute the game. Yeah. But I think he got a bit of stick last year after the Mo Salah little dancer. So there's probably an element of a way Sky had to tell him, like, just fucking rein it in a little bit, but. It was extremely over the top, like the way he was butchering the right hand side of the defence. Like, we weren't the best defence in Europe last year, you know.
Look, being honest with you, as I said, I was at the game.
And then another thing as well, actually, I meant to say, Alisson played a short pass in the first half. Do you remember it? The right winger nearly cut it out.
Yeah,
he left Trent short.
Yeah,
and he turns around and he says he was doing that a lot last season. I was like, was he?
No, because I can't remember.
Fucking imagining things?
Yeah.
It was a bit much. And then the Harry Maguire Wangfest then yesterday was a bit much.
But you see, the thing is, like, you said something in the club podcast that struck with me, where you said Carragher was saying, you know, Norwich will come here and they'll try play, and that's the way they've been brought to play, and how they got out of the championship, and they're credit to themselves, and they're this, that and the other. And then after 25 minutes, you were telling me they're on the commentary, he was saying, you can't do this, and stuff like that. He completely changed his tune, you know.
Calling him naive. And
when I went back and looked at his comments then on Saturday, I was sitting having a pint in Liverpool, he was on the telly, and I kind of went through it all, you know, they do on Sky Sports for 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. And the thing for me was that... Was he watching the same game as me, or was I just completely naive to what was going on? Because I just felt Liverpool were at 70% first half, blew Norwich aside, and then just literally down tools for the rest, and literally down tools from about 55 onwards. Is it just a case of him having to be...
No, because even I was getting a bit annoyed with it, like, because it was kind of like... when you're listening to a commentary like that, it can actually impact how you feel about...
There's Phil.
It can actually impact how you feel. Yeah, about a result afterwards, like, you know what I mean. And then Sky were drilling this that fucking Norwich won the second half. Yeah, but they said fuck all about Aston Villa winning the first half. Then the following day, like, you know what I mean. So,
yeah, no, I just think
it's a lot of bollocks.
Like Phil, it's the first game of the season. You know, anything could be a problem game. You know, teams up for it, especially promoted teams. More so if you're away to them than at home. But did you not think that? I thought any reaction to that game was over the top. Did you not feel that way?
Every reaction to every game on Twitter is over the top. Be it a win, be it a loss, be it a draw, whatever it is. That's just the way it is, Gav. The best thing you can do is either drink lots and just laugh, right, at Twitter, or don't. Just ignore it. Like, I have to say, I've got to the stage where I pay no attention to pundits. I pay no attention to pre-match or post-match talk in terms of what's there. And I literally pay no attention to the drones that occupy the space after games on Twitter in terms of what's there, offering their range of punditry skills that I wouldn't even pay for if I was living in a country that I'd have to pay for the televisions.
Obviously, because you live in America.
Yep. Flying specially for the podcast.
No, I just thought, and you know, so I said something, and I felt a few people probably thought it was a bit harsh yesterday. Neville and Carragher for me should stay in that studio.
MNF.
With you know, pens that you can mess with on screens and VR headsets and stuff
even
like
for
that.
me, BT is a far better broadcaster than Sky now, and every asset, even they're more in touch with the fans. That little one that they do on a Saturday late after the kickoff is very good. Where they sit down, they take fans' questions in. I like that. And yeah, man, Fletch is actually a decent commentator.
Yeah,
even Tyler was doing me fucking tits in on Friday night.
He's another. Martin Tyler yesterday, the United game, I muted it towards the end because Martin Tyler, 5 or 6 times he mentions that United could score 5 and be up there with City at the top of the league. Right? He mentions that 4 or 5 times that United could get 5 goals. Martin Tyler is a law unto himself when it comes to Manchester United and Liverpool. Yeah. Even the Barcelona game we won last year. If you listen to the Martin Tyler commentary on it, it's horrendous, But I suppose you have to wait and see. People are asking, and will continue to ask, about Alisson and the injury, and we are talking about it on the club as well. Someone said 6 to 8 weeks. Phil reckons 1 to 2 years.
No, I said 12 to 16 weeks.
Right, so you're talking 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And just Andy Lonergan looks like he's brought in on a short-term deal. Adrian will be the main goalkeeper in that time. Phil, you like your goalkeepers and stuff like that. Are you confident enough that Adrian can adjust to the way Liverpool play? Because listen, it's night and day the way Liverpool play, the way he did with West Ham and stuff like that. Are you happy with Adrian there, and you think he'll do a good? He'll do what he needs to do in the time that he has to do it, I suppose.
Look, as I said to Sean in the car, as I've said a lot of the time, look, I think for most Liverpool fans, the feeling was the exact same. When we saw Adrian come on the pitch, it was, at least it's not Mignolet, right? Yeah. He's going to save about 66% of shots. I said it in the podcast. He has good distribution skills. He's going to turn off at times. He's not Alisson, right? But at the same time, Gav, I would expect him to save more than either Mignolet or Karius in the Liverpool shirt. And because of that, I do believe we can get through the period without Alisson.
Something I noticed at the game, and you wouldn't, like, I agree with people when they say you see a lot more when you're not at the game because of the camera angles you get and the replays and stuff like that. But one thing I noticed, especially in the second half, because he was down there under the ground, Sean, he was so vocal. He was so vocal for a guy that just literally probably turned up and went, I'm never playing here. Yeah. I'll get a League Cup game, I might get a game in that World Club Championship. But he was so vocal. And he even caught Van Dijk by surprise at one stage, because Van Dijk turned with the ball, looked at Gomez, and he was on him like a light, roared him. And instead of playing at the Gomez, he put it out further out towards Trent, because Adrian could see this player pressing towards him. So he was so vocal. That surely has to be a good sign, doesn't it? That a guy comes in like that, really, he's willing to give his opinion straight away on the pitch to let's be honest, the best defender in the world. Yeah,
well, the thing that stood out for me most was, I think his first action in the game was a little 30-yard clipped ball out to Robertson on the right-hand side. And you could even, on the telly, you could notice in the ground, there was kind of it was like a little bit of a relief, sigh of relief. The fact that he can actually play like that, where you can rely on his distribution, means that we don't really systematically have to change too much from the way that we play with Alisson. And you could see that, like, the centre-halves and the full-backs were willing to play, or comfortable playing blowing passes back to him, knowing that even if he is being pressed by the opposition striker, that he has got the ability to pop her off or to play it into one of the midfielders coming in. So he has that element to his game, like, you know what I mean? And all we need him to be is an average shot stopper, because if our defence is at the level it was last year, we won't give up many chances in again.
No, and you know something, Norwich scored the other night, Phil, and being honest with you, most of the blame I would give would be this one centre half being dragged out and the fullback probably not following. But I heard one guy behind me, about 4 rows behind me, and with the minute the ball went in, he went, oh, there you go, there's the difference now with Alisson. Looking back at that goal, Phil, is there anything Adrian can do? Is it just a good finish?
Yeah, he can save it.
Well.
But come here, I'm looking at the lads here with the chats. I'll hold off what I think in reality. But there's 2 things here. Joe Hart took the job off Adrian, but then he subsequently lost it back to Adrian because Joe Hart's muck, right? Yeah. Secondly, he's our backup keeper. He's there for when our first choice keeper gets injured. There's not a single one of us saying here that Adrian is Alisson, the second coming of Alisson, or we'll keep the jersey when Alisson gets back fit. But is he better than Mignolet? Yes. Somebody said there he's a six-yard box merchant. He's a lot further off his 6-yard box than Mignolet ever was. You could see it even with the defence when he comes on. If you watched our pre-season friendlies, we were about 15 yards deeper than we normally were with Mignolet behind when Mignolet was in the team.
Yeah.
Whereas Adrian was more or less coming up to where you'd expect Alisson to be. I don't think he's anywhere, but I think he's a better goalkeeper, and he's proven to be a better goalkeeper than Mignolet statistically.
Well, I can tell you, he comes on. I don't know how many minutes it is when Alisson goes down. It could be 20 odd minutes into the game, a little bit more than that.
Yeah, about a half an hour,
maybe around that. Because I know he scored a goal after he goes off. But the one thing I noticed in the second half was watching him, because as I said, he was down there at the end of the pitch. He was out of his box, like he wasn't kind of standing on the edge of his box going, what do I do here? He seemed to be really kind of, I have this, lads, it's fine. And he did look comfortable with his feet. His handling was good. He was very vocal. I've no worries about him. Andy Lonergan gets a deal, Phil.
Greatest goalkeeper on earth,
but it's
called
just
Andy Lonergan.
It's just, I suppose, with Kelleher being out injured and lads being sent off on loan, what are we looking at? A 6-month deal, probably?
No, it has to be, I was reading today, it has to be either a month or a year. Yeah.
Right, if you're taking a free agent. Yeah. Right, okay, so it's going to be a year deal. A year deal. He probably won't get a look in, Phil, in a couple of months anyway. If Kelleher comes back, he would step into that position behind Adrian, do you think?
If Kelleher was fit, we wouldn't even be signing him. The fact is, he isn't fit, and we have to sign somebody. We need somebody on the bench that's capable of doing it. And you're not going to throw an 18-year-old kid in with half a hand on the bench in case something happens to Adrian. Because Murphy's Law would say to you, if you do that, then something will happen to Adrian inside the first 20 minutes. And we're going to need then to sign somebody on an emergency loan. So this is just covering your arse.
Yeah.
Essentially.
No,
and it's good tactics. But I think most people are probably tuning in, Gav, I think, because it looks like Lovren is off to Roma.
Yeah, I wanted to go on to that next. It's a strange one for me because I said it, I probably throughout the summer on this on the Daily Show that we're probably going a month and a half now, and the question was always about centre halves. What would you do? My opinion was if you were letting a Lovren go, you would probably have to have a replacement in place. The only reason I say that, Seany, is because I know you're nodding at me, but the only reason I would say that is because when you look at Joe Gomez, and not so much Matip last season, but before then, they had got tendencies to be out for games. But having said that, Lovren has never played 6 games in a row for Liverpool, which is a fucking ridiculous statistic. Are you okay if he, look, it's talking around 15 million plus add-ons. Are you okay if he goes?
Yeah.
You're okay?
Yeah.
So you're looking at, I'll put it to you, Van Dijk, Matip, Gomez,
Van der Berg, Hilva.
Right, or Fabinho. Right,
yeah.
So you're comfortable with this?
Yeah.
He needs to be. The stigma around Lovren needs to. The only way it goes is if he goes.
Yeah, exactly. Lovren is done. I was never vocally against Lovren. He was always an average defender. He, from the minute that he came in, he was average. He had a good run. He never got a good run of games going. There was the apocalypse at Wembley. He got hooked then. Yeah. And then he had to go in last season at St. James's Park, and that was the fucking...
That's when the relationship between you and Dejan Lovren broke.
That was the end of it, yeah.
Because I remember a text from you saying, Gav, I feel so sorry for Van Dijk. That poor fucker had to play at the back on his own.
He did. He was covering both sides.
Yeah.
And even their goal, like if you look back on the highlights, he passes the ball, like he zings the ball at Alisson, shin height, for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
And Alisson has to then make something out of a bad pass.
Yeah.
And then we end up getting caught, and they literally score from it.
Yeah.
And this is when we're chasing City in the title race. And then at the Etihad, just goes asleep in front of Aguero, like useless cunt. Thank God he's off.
Okay, well, I think I know where Seany stands on that. You, Phil.
You though, I think it's an unnecessary risk. I don't think Sepp Vandenberg to me looks like he's running in Porridge in the pre-season games. I was looking at.
Yeah, but so did Van Dijk.
Well, but that I've got a body of evidence that says that Van Dijk is a world-class defender. I don't have it with Vandenberg, right? And I'm looking at potentially our backups being all kids under the age of 20. in defensive positions, including starters, which is Trent, who's also a young defender as well.
I reckon they could get us through the Christmas anyway, and then a window opens where you can get someone in. So I wouldn't worry about it.
I know that, but you see where I'm coming from is if you could get it through to Christmas and a window opens, a window was open. And if you're going to do Lovren, you could have done him 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
you know, you could have done him 2 weeks ago, and your window was open to do something. Unless you could be right, he could have something lined up in January where he does a deal. Listen,
didn't we send Nat Phillips out on loan as well?
Yeah, he's gone to Germany. Yeah.
But he's out like Gomez. They only cut that.
But yeah, I know. But this is my point. We seem to let ourselves go low on defensive coverage if we're then going to sell one of the centre backs, which you'd say for as one of the 4 centre backs we have between experienced and good, then he's one of the ones to go. I think it's a bit, you know.
I'd imagine Lovren is on big money as well, so having him off the wage bill now would have been.
Well, funny you say that now, because the lad here called Byron says, for as little as we get out of Lovren, he doesn't justify the wages.
No, he doesn't at all.
You know, as a 4 choice,
and
does that come into it?
He does seem to me like the type of player that, like, there's a lot of pride involved with Lovren, and I think he's the best centre half in the world in his own head. And the fact that he's probably he's been probably told that he's 4 choice, I can't imagine that sat well with him at all. Like, you know what I mean? You look at the 2 defenders that Rome are actually looking at getting in, was him and Mustafi, and that board's of a feather, really, aren't they? Like, let's be honest.
Rome are on drugs.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me about the Rome thing, because they've been signing such good centre backs recently.
But they lost Manolis, didn't they, to Napoli?
Yeah.
And where did Martin Skrtel go to the other day?
He went to
Bluebell.
Atalanta, who managed to get into the top 4 in Italy last year.
Yeah, he's gone to a Champions League.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I thought it was the fucker.
I seen him in a jersey today and went, what's he doing? And then I seen someone on Instagram where he was saying he wrote, it was a novel he wrote to say goodbye to Fenerbahce. I think he was afraid. But don't say something nice for a long time here. I could be in trouble.
Glenn makes a fair point. He says we're trusting Gomez to be right back and centre back up. And to me, that's the biggest risk of the whole season, because his fitness record wouldn't stand up to him being able to put in a 35 to 36 game season so far. It's a big leap of faith to say that the guy's going to come through the season for the majority of the time unscathed.
The way we were set up though, with Lovren still there, I always said the way the season was going, I'm not looking for 9 and 10 out of 10 from Gomez this season. I'm looking for, if you can get 7 to 8 out of 10 for the majority of the time, and he's there all of the time, it makes a massive difference to the squad. Listen, Lovren, Seany, I think you're right. I don't think his ego will take a massive hit with your 4 choice. But to me, we can deal with Gomez and we can deal with Matip. Van Dijk goes down and we're in serious shit, because then you're looking at Matip, Gomez, which might be alright, but if one of them, you know, now I know it's a lot of ifs, buts and maybes, but their keeper's falling over after 25 minutes there the other night, and anything can happen.
Happen,
but
we'd have to be extremely unlucky to have.
You would have to be extremely unlucky. So overall, if he goes, he goes, and we can sort it in January.
Exactly, that's all I think. I think we might have enough to get through until then.
Alright, listen, we're only going to do another 5 minutes, and we did talk on the club about this Super Cup that's on Wednesday night. We talked about Southampton. I'll get on to Southampton later on the week, but just on the Super Cup, if anybody is watching, this is, as always, is brought to you by Paddy Power. The Paddy Power app is there for you. If you gamble responsibly. If you don't gamble, just disregard of all this bits of stuff. If you do like a gamble and you do like a bet and you have a mad bet in your head, send it to us on Twitter. Put it on this show. We do get it. We price it up and we put it on the Tripper Specials board on Paddy Power. But looking at Wednesday night, we all done predictions earlier on, but I'm not going to ask you predictions, but are we in danger? Are we in danger looking at Chelsea a little bit too lightly here, Seany, because of what happened at the weekend?
Yeah, you can really, because they were missing a lot of what you'd say key players, but I think we still should have too much for them.
I was trying to work out were they missing someone at centre half?
Yeah, Rudiger.
He
was a good player.
Yeah, and is he due back soon?
No, I think he done his ACL, so he's going to be out.
And they let Gary Cahill go, and they let
David Luiz go.
So
no, they're light at the back there.
So it's going to be Christian and Zuma.
Yeah.
I like Christensen. I don't think he's bad, but Zuma looks a little bit.
Zuma needs a babysitter, and Christensen's a baby. So
yeah,
you know what I mean.
So you don't think we take these too lightly? We go out and we do our job.
I think the fans might, but I definitely don't think Klopp and the squad will. No. I think they'll just go out with the mindset that if we get at these, we'll beat them, and that should be the way that we're looking at it. Like we're fucking champions of Europe, right? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And their main threat, any other game coming up against Chelsea, they could have fucking Ian
Boston.
Holloway managing them, and if they had Hazard,
Kev Pressman and goal.
If they had Hazard, there'd always be a doubt in the back. Like you seen in the Carling Cup last year, he came on and won the game.
Brilliant,
They haven't got that. I don't see where the goals come from.
Abraham didn't look right. He hit the post.
Yeah,
Giroud come on, and Giroud has no mobility about him.
Batshuayi is on the bench.
Pulisic, one or two little bits. Pedro probably looked the best player. But Phil, if you're going into Wednesday night and you're Liverpool manager, do you just tell your team, disregard what happened at Old Trafford on Sunday? These are a good side. We will have to go out and do our job properly.
Well, if I'm a really bad Liverpool manager, that's probably what I do. Otherwise, I've prepared for this game. I know who's likely to play, and if they're going to set up a certain way, I'll go this way. If they aren't, I'll go another way. But in reality, I'm looking at my own side, and I can figure out if they start coming at us and be open and attacking, we're happy to sit back.
Because they were awful in transition the other day.
Yeah.
No matter where they lost the ball.
That's what I'm saying.
15 yards outside their own box or 15 yards inside United's box.
Yeah.
And if they decide to sit deep and play on the counter, I'll take that all day, because I know I've got Keita, I've got Salah, I've got Firmino on fire, I've got Origi to act as a battering if I want down the left hand side. I've got my two fulls that I can push on and really go at them.
Shaqiri could come on and make an impact in the game.
Shaqiri can come on. I've got game changers that can, if teams want to sit back and play against the counter, I'm not afraid of teams sitting in there, because I know I'm going to open them up, and I know when I do, I've got strikers that are clinical enough to go and score goals. So why would I be? I'm looking at arguably the worst Chelsea side I've seen since they were invented.
It's not even that they're the worst side. It's just like it's probably not the worst collections of players you've ever seen at Chelsea. Going back now, previous
lack of
2003, 2004. It's just like it's a mismatch of players. Like nothing seems to make sense with them.
There's everything.
Now, Kante, they're talking about be back, but Kante looked a mile off on Sunday.
But Gav, it's not just that, but it's everything. They have it's basically a fraud as a manager. It's a fella who's achieved nothing in the game, gone in to take over.
He's a rookie.
Like he's a rookie. He shouldn't have that job, and he's been set up to fail.
He's been set up as a punch bag for everything.
Exactly,
the media, the lot.
And fair play to him for taking it. And if he does well, fair play to him, because he's going to have to learn. He's going to have to learn quickly. They got the capability to do an upset on Wednesday. They do. They've got, as you said, they've got a collection of decent players if he plays them. But if he wants to stick with the youth and they go at us and we play to our capabilities, even if we change the team around, then we should have more than enough to win it. But ultimately, we're talking about a team that we expect to win the league, and we're talking about a team that I think will struggle to make top 5 this season.
6 even.
No, I think they get top 6 purely because they've got a better squad, and when Hiddink comes in and takes over towards the second half of the season,
when Hiddink comes on in the middle of January.
Genuine. Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at.
Avram Grant is probably making sure they know that he's available and he's there if we need him. Do you want to go home, Seany?
No, keep going.
You're happy, are you? Okay. Well, for me, looking at that Chelsea side, their keeper's good. I think Azpilicueta is a brilliant defender, but it's time for him to go in and play centre half in probably a back three. He was their only outlet, believe it or not, on Sunday for the first 40 minutes because he had so much room.
Him being that best player, Mane.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Yeah. Him being their outlet. Listen, if Trent Alexander-Arnold had been afforded that much space on the right hand side for Liverpool on Sunday against that United side, he would have torn them apart with his ability to put balls on plates for players. Kovacic was there. Your man, the Brazilian fella, Jorginho. Mount looked tidy. He looked the most active of the three midfielders, I thought.
We'll run them.
Barkley was appalling. Pedro walked his bollocks off, and then Abraham up front. Look
what happened to them. Same players under a better manager with the system that they had at Wembley last year against Spurs in the league.
Yeah,
I can see Wednesday night going similar to that. I can't tell you enough about Frank Lampard's style of play because I don't even think he has one yet. There, you know what I mean.
Well, you see, it's hard when you come into a club like Phil says,
and you can't put your own
with so little experience, right? Then you come in and you can't put your own stamp on it with players, and then you don't know who wants to stay and play for you, like Luis, who just legged it. That's a weird one for me. How do you let him go to Arsenal? There must have been something in his contract that if there had to be something that he turned around and went, I want to go to Arsenal.
Supposedly he was hankering for the move when he'd caused ructions in the Chelsea dressing room, and Lampard just decided better to lance the poison than to try run with it during the season if we're going to have all these other problems.
Right. So he was a bit of an issue.
Seems to have been a bit of an issue. Decided that he was off and he was going to get his transfer one way or the other.
Right. And Arsenal were the only ones that come in. 8 million.
32-year-old David Luiz is not the same as a 26-year-old David Luiz who had a lot of recovery pace.
They went for 50 million to Paris Saint-Germain and back to Chelsea for 35, was it?
Yep.
Something along them lines.
Yep.
Even matter that Arsenal actually fucking signed them.
Yeah. But listen,
They would have been better off buying Lovren.
they might have.
Yeah.
They might have. But David Luiz will improve Arsenal.
They would have.
They
He
probably
won't
would've.
though.
I think
David
he will.
Luiz won't.
I think he will.
Let's stop
because-
playing in a back three. Like I said, he's another one that needs a
Like you said,
babysitter.
if you put David Luiz in with Mustafi, like we'll all have a great laugh.
Yeah, it's gonna
I'm
be
gonna
like
start watching
fucking
Arsenal.
one flew over the cuckoo's nest.
You can put him in with anyone. Like I have to say, the Arsenal defence is appalling. They did nothing to sort it out over the course of the summer.
No,
I like Tierney. I think Tierney's a good sign.
yeah, but Tierney, like I like Tierney, and we've spoken about him on this show as well. And he was, you know, when all this talk about Liverpool left back issue and maybe bringing someone in, and people mentioned Tierney, and I said no because it'll stunt his career at Liverpool. He won't get in ahead of Robertson.
No,
Robertson's a better player. End of story. Pat
Captain of
Nevin,
the- yeah.
Pat Nevin was shining out of me
Of course
yesterday
he
saying
was.
take Tierney because
Yeah.
Pat Nevin is an Everton fan. But the thing about Tierney is, and he just seemed to be injured an awful lot in the last year as Celtic career. I could be wrong in that, but I felt like he was injured an awful lot.
Yeah,
And
well, there is stories up north about Tierney.
Right, it was his injury record. I thought it might have been a bit
it's
off.
one of them Daniel Sturridge, Jack Wilshere injuries. Though.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
I'm injured and that's it.
Yep.
But looking at
Coutinho.
No,
Knee back.
it's not. It's like
if I'm not
the type of
100%, I
injury
don't
where,
play.
like, there's nothing wrong with your legs or any walking part of your body that you need to play football.
But look, he will improve them at left back, and you'll probably see Monreal go into a centre back. He done that for a little while, but I'll get on to Arsenal later on during the week because I think they're interesting. Weird team, like Phil said earlier, that they put out at the weekend. But look, we leave it there. That was good. That was the Fatback 4 Daily. That was in association with Paddy Power. That's been Phil Casey. That's been Seany. We just call him Seany. We don't do anything else. I just call him Seany. And I've been Gav. Thanks a million for watching. Over now.